short explanation you could tell people who are not familiar with what
I just think it's so simple. I mean, I just think it's anyone who stands for smaller government, less spending, lower taxes, more freedom, more power to the people. It's always about less government. And unfortunately, what you got with McCain, Obama, and Clinton is more government, more government, more government, or as I call it, big and bigger, dumb and dumber. That's what you're getting with the two parties today, and you're stuck with it. That's the way it is, Dave. So there's got to be another alternative, and there's been two major polls out there that really give me great hope for this country still. I mean, I always have hope. I love this country. I love America. And all things considered, you know, it's been the greatest nation in the world since our founding fathers in 1776. But here's the deal. Poll number 1 asked people leaving the voting booth in 2004, do you consider yourself fiscally conservative, socially liberal, otherwise known as libertarian? And a large percentage of people said yes. About half the United States of America said yes. I know there's hope. And let me tell you, the other half just didn't understand the question. We'll get them too. And the second thing that makes me happy is just that when they ask people, do you think that we could use a third-party credible candidate? The answer is overwhelmingly yes. People are looking for another option. And as we make this recording today, this could be watched for months, but I do want to state, as we make this recording today, Barack Obama has been taking some incredible hits. For all the people out there that thought he was your answer, change, hope, that's all he ever talked about. His whole, 12,000 words, 11,900 are change and hope. And the reality is that Barack Obama is just an old-time liberal Democrat demagogue. What he is he's back to the future. He's George McGovern with the most liberal socialist policies in the country. There's nothing new about it. There is no change. There is no hope whatsoever if you're a small business person. There's no hope whatsoever if you are a homeschool parent or a parent looking for educational reform. Let me divert for 1 second. I just want to say one thing. I have to say it. A poll just happened in Nevada where I live. And the poll asked, if you had a choice, would you send your children to public school? 90% of all respondents in the state of Nevada shows if they could afford it, they would either homeschool or send their children to private school, parochial school, or a charter school. 90%. Yet I heard Barack Obama in a speech today, and what did Barack say? He said, let's forget about all the problems and all the racism my preacher's accused of. Let's talk about what I believe in. I want to fight for taxing the rich more. The rich means you, anyone who owns a business, anyone who's self-employed, anyone who makes the money, creates the jobs, produces in America. He wants to take it away from the producers who work hard every day, and he wants to give it to the people who don't produce. That's bad news. And second of all, he said, and I want to fight for public schools. You know what that's a code word for? I want to absolutely take your choice away. The ability of parents to choose between homeschooling and public schooling versus private schooling, parochial school, charter school. He doesn't want you to have that right, or it's going to be very expensive. You're going to pay for the public school while you also pay double taxation for private school. I call that taxation without representation. I seem to remember our founding fathers had a nice party in Boston over that and threw the tea in the water and started a revolution. So I think Obama's not the answer. I know Hillary's not the answer. I know John McCain's not the answer. All three have worked their entire lives off of the taxpayers. They've collected taxpayer checks their entire lives. John's a war hero, John McCain. I'll give him that. He's a very courageous war hero, and I love him for what he did during the Vietnam War. A very brave man. But since that point, he's worked for government his entire life. He's never known hunger. He's never known risk. All he's ever done is collected a government paycheck, both as a government employee and as a United States Senator and as a congressman. Barack Obama, State Senator Illinois, and now United States Senator Illinois, all he's done is collected a paycheck from the taxpayers. And Hillary Clinton, well, she was collecting a paycheck basically her whole life as the wife of the Arkansas governor, the wife of the president, and now United States Senator. None of them have ever created a job in their lives. So if they say they have the solutions and the answers, Dave, John, have they ever created a job? No, there are no answers there. My entire life I've created jobs. So I think I have some answers, unique edges as a small businessman. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Now, you did mention again about the third. We saw recently what happened to Ron Paul, what the Republicans did to him.
Yes.
They silenced him, they muzzled him. And it is tough for a third-party candidate because the other two parties have such a lock on it. How are you planning to run a really serious, viable campaign as a third-party candidate?
Well, let's talk a little Libertarian Party politics here, because I've got quite a few opponents. I like to quote Yogi Berra. Yogi Berra once said, when you come to a fork in the road, take it. And you know, we're at a fork in the road. There's actually, I believe it's 11 declared Libertarian presidential candidates. I've been leading in every poll, and I've won every single debate I've gone to. I've been the winner by a large margin. But having said that, you have 11 choices, and you got to choose one. Just like America can't come to the fork in the road and choose everything. You got to choose one. And there's now a new semi-announced candidate in the Libertarian Party as well, a woman who I respect very much, whose books I've read, who is talked about today at Third Party Watch, is coming aboard and entering the Libertarian presidential race. And all of them really don't offer what I offer. See, here's the difference. The Libertarian Party has never had a media personality, a communicator, a messenger. That's what I am. You know, I've been called a Ronald Reagan for the Libertarian Party, and that's really at its core what I am. Like Reagan, who people laughed at and said he was a B-movie actor and played second fiddle to a chimp in a B-movie, you know, but what he really was someone who had practiced the art of communication his whole adult life. And I've been on television my entire adult life, not only hosting shows, just like both of you have show business backgrounds. John, I know you've been a Vegas headliner. And Dave, you're hosting the Price is Right stage show at Bally's in Vegas right now. Right. You've hosted supermarket sweeps. You've hosted the Miss World contest. You've been at, 45 different television shows?
Yep.
So you understand how important it is to have communication skills. I've been on TV my whole life, both as a host, as a guest expert on all the major shows you can name on Fox News and on CNN and on MSNBC, but also as a salesman, as a persuader. You know, I've been the star of and producer and creator of television infomercials. Remember that name, infomercial, from the Ross Perot campaign?
Sure.
If you want to be a third-party candidate and get your opinions out, you have no choice. You have to buy time, 30-minute blocks of time, across the country where you can explain your views to America. And that's my edge. That's what I'll be doing day and night, night and day. I'll be using technology. We'll get to that in a second. A lot of technology that we'll talk about here today that other Libertarian candidates have never used. None of the other opponents of mine have ever used. They know nothing about infomercials. That's my life, is selling a product and making Americans stand up and take notice. That's what I've done my whole life. Set records doing it. I've had over 2 million calls on television from people who woke up and had no idea they were going to make a call that day until they saw me on TV and said, wow, he's persuaded me, I'll make that call. Well, there's nothing in life I have more passion about than politics and my libertarian beliefs. Nothing. Nothing in life gets me more excited in the morning than smaller government, less spending, lower taxes, dismantle the IRS, more freedom for the individuals. That's what gets me excited in the morning. And the second thing is that I have the ability, the credibility, to attract mainstream media. While my opponents, and even the new gal who just announced she's coming into the race, have never had big-time media in their entire lives, let alone in this race. I've been on Michael Medved, over 3 million listeners. I've been on Glenn Beck, over 3 million listeners, number 3 rated show in America. I've been on Mancow, the Mancow Show, I believe the number 10 or 12 syndicated radio show in all the United States of America. I've been on Fox News, Fox Business, MSNBC, you name it, I've been on it. CNBC, CNBC Europe, Bloomberg Europe, Setanta Sports in Europe, the Fox Sports of Europe, even interviewed me about my presidential run in the middle of discussing the Super Bowl and soccer finals. So that's an edge that no Libertarian candidate has ever offered before. And last but not least, here's the last one I'll give you. America is a center-right nation. It always has been, it always will be. In the last half century, only a couple of Democrats have been elected since John F. Kennedy and Lyndon Johnson. Only 2 Democrats have actually been elected president. One was Jimmy Carter. The other was, of course, Bill Clinton. Both of them were Southern Democrats who ran as conservatives, who ran as mainstream, middle-of-the-road Southern conservatives. They didn't govern as conservatives, but they ran as conservatives. Every single opponent in the Libertarian Party that I've got of any significance is a left libertarian. And that doesn't play. That doesn't work. Worse than that, the strategy won't work this year. You see, there are millions of disaffected Republicans who won't vote for John McCain, and they will vote for Wayne Allyn Root. How do I know? Because I've got 800 emails in the last 3 months from people who all say the same thing. I've been a Republican my entire life. I've never voted for